gosh, that's terrifying. Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome back to DCC Sodor for a new video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I add lights to my Bachmann Thomas & Friends locomotives. So here we've got Spencer and his chassis, and right here we've got the Loksound V5 DCC decoder and a whole mess of wires just kind of bundled up there. So each of these are super important, and I'll get to these in a minute. But first, what you're gonna need are some lights. So for this one, I'll be showing you how to add the firebox flicker that I've shown on Twitter. I got these from Amazon. They are 0402 pre-wired surface mount LEDs, or SMD LEDs, by this company. Make sure that you take special note of the voltage range of 2 to 2.2 volts. You want to add a 1K ohm resistor in series with this, and I will get onto that. And then you have the anode and the cathode. This is the positive and this is the negative side of the LEDs. And again, we'll get into those in just a little bit here. I also have that I'm going to be adding are these teeny weeny tiny little out of focus it will not focus, but these are DCC Concept Loco lamps, I believe they're called. And they are, again, surface mount LEDs, just molded in this nice little casing here, which is not focusing on because it's so incredibly small. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. Another thing you might want are these nice little drill bits. These are number 61 to number 80 drill bits. And you'll need that for Spencer in particular, because if you tried to pop these out and put the lamps on, they wouldn't quite fit. So I'm actually going to glue the lamps right to these lamp irons here. Yeah, that's better. And then drill tiny, tiny little holes right in front that I can feed the wires down in, and then glue the lamps right onto those big lamp irons. So let's get started, and I'll be back in just a second. All right, now I don't recommend not having something here, but this is just for demonstration purposes. Usually I'll put at least something down to kind of cover my wood finish here so it doesn't all get like burned off. So I'm actually going to take and pull off this piece of Kapton tape. Oh wait, probably need a new piece. But open this up and I'll free many of these wires here. So since we're working with the firebox flicker effect, I'm going to be using this green wire here as with my Loksound decoder. Green is what we call aux1, and aux1 is what I have mapped firebox a flicker to. So let's get started. Gonna get some tweezers here, and we're gonna hold this, and the first thing I'm gonna do is put the resistor in series with the function. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult to do on camera, so I've got my resistor, and I'm gonna do some snipping here as well with these cutters. I'm going to cut the resistor down so that there's not a whole lot here. And that just means that we'll have more room in the inside so that we don't have those giant legs blocking us. I'm going to use my helping hands here slide this forward, move Spencer's chassis out of the way for a second, and we're going to tin these ends. And tinning is just, you know, adding some solder onto these metal pieces here. So let me get these situated, and hopefully you can see that. Let's bring that into shot a little bit closer. Can I focus on that? Probably not. But I'm just going to put some solder here. I'm going to and that has melted on, and actually it's almost stuck to some solder on there. Yes. And then some going there. And there, now we have some blobs of solder that we can easily solder to. And we'll bring this wire back over here that we were holding earlier. And we can easily, now I am left-handed, so it's going to be a little bit tricky for me to do it this way, but for the sake of doing it on camera, do it like that and squeeze, and there we go. All right, so that resistor is soldered on. And we're going to take the black side, which, as I mentioned earlier, was the negative side of the wire. And you can see that these wires are so thin, it's even hard to keep these in focus. And we're going to solder this wire. Well, actually, before we do that, we're going to get some heat shrink tubing out. And I believe I already had it out. No. So I have a whole tub, plastic tub full of it, but you don't need this much. You can go on Amazon, and I'll put a link to many of the things that I've used here in the description below, and a link to where to find them. And we're going to keep going and get just enough that it'll cover all the, oh, there goes things in the background. Just enough that it covers all. That will mark it. Maybe I should have been able to cut it, but didn't have the cutters in far enough. Got a nice piece of shrink tubing that we can shrink over everything. And then we'll take this wire here. We'll give it a good solder joint. Up. And that's on there. Actually, before we do that, we actually have to put the heat shrink tubing on. And now we can solder to it. And there we go. So that's one resistor in line. You hear in the background, I'm actually cleaning off my soldering iron with a nice damp sponge. Actually, this one's pretty saturated, but that's okay. Yeah, so we'll take this out, and we'll slide the heat shrink across this wire here and down over the resistor and right over this joint here and into our nice little right over top of our nice little solder joint. So from there, what you can do is take your soldering iron, just lightly, maybe with the back of it here, so you can see if it'll focus. Maybe it'll focus on this. Not sure if it will. Can I zoom? Yeah, there we go. So now we're focused. Well, we were focused on it. Now we've lost focus again. And just kind of shrink up this piece of heat shrink here with your heat. It's going to take a minute, but it'll work. Or even go from the bottom. Since heat rises, it'll shrink a little bit easier this way. And you can see that kind of the outline of that resistor start to appear. that heat shrink is in there. Oh, don't touch that. That gets hot fast. Okay. So that was 7 minutes. So next is going to be, we're going to attach this end to this end here. The red end, this is the positive side, to this blue wire here. And I'm going to temporarily do that just so that we can power Spencer up and you can see that the light actually works. And then I'm going to do the rest. But this is I just wanted to, you know, make a quick video here about how I do this, and then hopefully you guys can try this out on your own. So I'm going to solder that up off screen, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so first thing we want to do is, now we have Spencer hooked up to my Loco programmer. First thing I'm going to do is open up the Loco programmer software. And I'm going to open an existing decoder project. I'm going to go to My Files, Spencer, and open his file. So once his file opens, we're going to go to function mapping. We're going to check, and yes, we do have our Firebox enabled with the Firebox flicker is enabled as well. So if we go to driver's cab and we go on the start command and we press F1, you'll see that Firebox flickering away. So really, programming, and especially with a Loco programmer, it's really, really easy to program this setting in. But installing it is almost just as easy. I like to use like black tack to kind of just stick the light in, and you'll see that here in just a second, but just wanted to test and make sure that everything worked, and it does, and it looks great. I'm gonna turn that off. I'm also gonna stop sending signals to my programming track, and I'm gonna button this, at least put the light where I want it to go, and then call this light installation complete. And maybe I'll show you a little snippet of when I finish putting Spencer's front lights in. So yeah, I'll be back again in just a minute. And as you can see, there we go. It's all mounted and looks pretty good. All right, so if we take a look, Spencer's lights light up there. And even in the cab, you can see a nice little flickering effect from the Firebox. Looks pretty good if you ask me. See it through the side of the cab, which I think is really cool. It's going to light up the crew figures once those get installed. I'm going to wait for the Bachmann ones to come out before I install them. So I think the best thing to do right now is to take him down, put him on the layout, and see how he looks pulling his coaches. All right, so first we're just going to take a look at Spencer in the dark here. You can see that Firebox flickering really nicely. I think that looks really good. So oh, hit a dead spot there. Huh. Might have to change the volume there a little bit. It seems like some of these functions are a little loud. Anyways, now you can see the flame glowing in there, and the lights look pretty good. They just kind of glow, not super bright. They look pretty good. So, in conclusion, that is Spencer, fitted with a Loksound V5 decoder, micro in the firebox here. He's got a glowing firebox, and the speaker in the tender. And then he's got his 2 special coaches. So if you guys have any questions on how I did this, leave a comment down below. Oh, sorry about that. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a like. And if you're interested in seeing more videos like this one, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, because I'm sure there'll be more content coming on the way. Peter Sam should be here tomorrow, so a video will also be coming of him in just a couple days. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.